Hello everyone, PraisCuda here. And thoughts on the Switch. A couple of you have asked me my thoughts, various places, and I figure I'll make a formal video discussing those. So, yeah, let's get on it. So, the Switch. For anybody who hasn't been paying attention or found a nice comfy rock to live underneath for a few days, weeks, months, the Nintendo Switch is Nintendo's next home console with portable potential. It's actually a really smart idea, considering there have been many products that have tried to do the whole home console on the go thing. Mainly Sony, but it's been done, and it's been attempted to be done. So there are a few things about this that, well, there's a lot of things that make me happy for it, a lot of things that make me worried about it, so on and so forth. So let's just let me just start from the top of the note. By the way, I have no script for this, so I'm just rambling at this point. First off, okay, the first thing that bugs me, the controllers. Now, I'm not talking like, the controller, put on another peripheral. That's fine. That looks fine. That works as it's intended and whatnot. It actually, let me grab it on here quick. Actually, this works. I mean, it kind of has the same idea as, a GameCube controller with the asynchronous pads. People were fine with this for looking whatever. It's a good idea. What I'm not super happy about is the fact that even though it is two controllers, the fact that their size. I suppose you can't ask for everything with this, but the fact that the controllers are so small and feel so fragile. Like, there have been times I'm looking, I'm trying to see if I can get one. Here we go. Ugh. There have been times holding this controller. I'm going to put it like this so my face isn't blocked. There have been a couple times holding this controller where I've had moments of rage and I wanted to snap it. And I'm like, dude, I could actually probably snap this thing if I got enough rage going. Train, enough. Imagine the issue with a controller that's... Let's see if I can give accurate representation. A controller that's about that big. Let's see, here, let's do this. Cover that up. A controller that's about yay big, this white part, and half the thickness, maybe a third of the thickness. You know how many of those things people are going to break? Do you understand how many of those Joy-Cons those little Joy-Cons better cost like $20 by themselves. $40 for the big controller set, we'll call it, whatever. That's the big thing that bugs me. On the flip side of that, I'm okay with the fact that it is designed like that, though, that it has two controllers built in, because a lot of times with just me and everything, I try to share everything. Try to share everything that's new, old, whatever. So, like, I'm going to put this out here, there as an example, even though I don't think this will actually be a thing, but, like, you realize there's the potential of, I never played Kirby Superstar Ultra. Oh, what a coincidence. I downloaded that game on my Switch. Here's a controller. You can be player 2. I will introduce you to this game, masterpiece of games. That's kind of perfect. So, pro and con of the Joy-Con, like I said, I like it, I don't like it, I'm in between. The next thing is, third party, as I sit here with basically Nintendo's biggest mascot all over my chest. Third party. I'll talk about portability more next time, but the whole thing that I want Nintendo to try and do to attract third party is make sure that this thing separated from the console makes it like another Wii U situation, where it's hard to program two screens. Thanks, Wii U gamepad. Prove my point even further. It's hard to program two screens. It needs to be avoided. The thing that Nintendo, and they actually have already said they're not going to do two-screen or asynchronous gameplay stuff with the Switch, but Nintendo needs to make sure that if they're going to market it to third-party investors of any kind, that the system will function primarily as a home console with optional, I'm very clearly enunciating that word, optional on-the-go status. Because, you know, a system like that has the capability to do that may attract more people. Like, I'm just gonna put this out here, is that, you know, you give... Let me think of an RPG here. Okay, this is a bad example, actually. Never mind. I'm gonna use that. Say the Final Fantasy 15, or down the road, Final Fantasy 16 comes to Switch. Okay, that's a pretty lengthy RPG that's kind of hard to sit, that, you know, in this day and age, kind of hard to sit in one place to do, and sometimes you need to spend up to an hour, if not longer, per session of playing said game. So, what needs to be, you know, that needs to be a thing, is that this is home console. But in the event that you have to run away from wherever you're sitting, you can keep playing your game on the go. More or less, letting people who play your JRPGs, or RPGs in general, that take forever, you know, play 2 or 3 hours, get dragged away somewhere, and be able to continue playing until they get to their destination or something like that, or get to a proper save point. Basically offer, you know, a way to continue your game right up until you, basically it's impossible to continue to play your game, and then you have to shut it off. Now, another thing, I really want, excuse me, I really want Nintendo to not to try and focus so much on power. We're at a point in the console race war that power needs to start becoming a little bit secondary. Like, okay, I'm old, whatever. I look at consoles now and I say, okay, we kind of hit a peak until we can get like force feed, until with like VR stuff, as at like a $200 price range, we can get force feedback on gloves, basically that will stop your hand movements and will act like you've got something stopping your full grip. You know, until we get to that point, power and how pretty something is kind of needs to start being secondary, especially for Nintendo at this point. I understood they put together a lot of games, and Platinum, I guess, is another company who put together a lot of games, but Nintendo put together a couple games that are very gorgeous, very artistic, and very high resolution, but pushing much beyond that would probably lose them more than they would gain with the Switch. Now, the biggest thing here with the Switch that I want to put on the table is the price range. Keep in mind that this is the console. God, this thing's dusty. This is the console that goes into a jack that basically upscale. That basically would end up, you know, outputting the game at its full resolution on a big screen. The fact that the thing is now primarily a tablet design, but is meant to be played at home before tablet, should help, you know, govern what price they should have on this thing. My personal thing is, I would not be shocked if at launch the Switch were somewhere between $350 and $400, because there's a lot of technology bouncing around inside of that thing, and the fact that it's so thin and how it goes to the big screen, you know, all that, $350, $400 would be roughly a good price range. I think just about everybody would be okay with that, considering, respectively, Xbox One and PlayStation 4, soon to be Scorpio and Ford Neo, where the hell it's going to be, are probably going to be asking $600. So, if Nintendo can lowball it a little bit somehow with that price range, that'd be good. If they go much higher in the price, I have a feeling that a lot of people who aren't diehard fans, and keep in mind, with the Wii U, once again, I'm going to bring this brick out, with the Wii U, a lot of people have been shunned away from console gaming as a whole, or at least away from Nintendo gaming. Because, I mean, I can feel around back here and start counting, but I'm pretty sure there's like a total of 20 to 24 must-have games for the Wii U, and there's about 30-40 games overall. Those extra 20 being like shovelware games, meaning not so good. So the Wii U didn't have a very big library, and that's because of either their initial investment when the system came out, or their third-party crippling. So they should not go super expensive with their starting price, because that will scare people away in that regard. But also, they should not go too low. I would say 300 would probably be the absolute lowest Nintendo should go with the asking price for the Switch. But even then, that's going to have some people who are a little more, how do I put it lightly? People that are a little skeptical and want quality are also people that actually do like in-depth reviews of products such as the Switch, and would probably say something to the regards of, you know, this is costing as much, if not less, than their last console. How good is the quality on it? Is it going to break? How soon is it going to die on me? You know, in the pompous British accent, they will say all this. So, but, yeah, with all this in mind, considering what it looks like the Switch can do and pull off, I'm very excited for the Switch. Just in my opinion, this is probably not the rightest opinion, but in my opinion and outlook of how the Switch looks and whatnot, it would not be uncommon for Nintendo to ask would not be uncommon for the Switch to become yet another GameCube platform. I say GameCube in the sense that, you know, GameCube could have... Let me look through here quick. Okay. This is going to be a bad example. You know, GameCube could have a lot of staying power... The Switch could have a lot of staying power, because it would have simplistic styles and controls that could let pretty much any and all games go onto it and be used in a certain fashion, so that everybody has access to the game. But it would not be so far-fetched to have some third-party support for some games and series that haven't seen limelight for a while, and get people interested in just the fact of going back to Nintendo. So, like I said, if Nintendo does everything right with the Switch, they promise what they want to promise, and they give it their best shot to make it a home console first with optional on the go, they could probably make themselves a GameCube. Not their best system, but something that will attract a lot of third-party people and help keep them afloat in this. But if they do something with the Switch that scares everybody away, that makes nobody want to touch it except for themselves, we got another Wii U. Something that lasted 3 years with 20 to 40 total games and had very little support for it. And if that does happen again, there might not be much more Nintendo, except Nintendo following the route of Sega and, well, New Super Mario Bros. For PC is a thought that comes to mind. Anyway, so everybody, thanks for watching. I hope that this is what you were expecting when a couple of you were asking for my thoughts on what the Switch is and could be. I know I rambled a bit and I was very disjointed in my opinions, but this was simply because I wanted to make sure I got, excuse me, I wanted to make sure that I addressed pretty much all the points Nintendo is trying to market, and make sure I express concerns for those, because even with how much Nintendo has been screwing over so many people who are trying to promote their products and who are just trying to be there for them, despite all that, I do want to see Nintendo do well, because I mean, I'm a Nintendo baby. I grew up, you know, Super Mario Brothers was my first system, and that is, I mean, that is nostalgia. Nostalgia doesn't want to let go of what's from the past. But I feel a company that spearheaded a generation and basically is spearheading everything that we do nowadays with video games and entertainment in general. You know, it'd be kind of terrifying to just see the forefather gone. So again, thank you all so much for your time today. If you have any thoughts about the Switch, anything you want to add to my comments, or anything you want to criticize about what I said, go ahead, tell me what you want to say in the comment box down below. I'm willing to listen to anything you guys have to say about this. And if you guys want me to talk more about something else that comes up and whatnot, I'll do another random ramble bit here. But you just gotta let me know. Thank you all so much for your time today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.